Good morning. It's raining here in Portland area. Well, I'm not exactly in Portland, but it's raining all over Oregon. In this Northwest. We famous for our evergreens, but it's because it's ever raining. It's okay. What are you gonna do? It's one thing or the other, right? So I broke yet another pair of glasses today, so anyway, blue and green should never be seen. But why do they make blue and green look so good together? Look, like I put a little thing. I don't know. Blue and green. Sorry, goofy today. So today I'm going to talk about Jean's Rainbow Bar, and I alluded to it in one of the other videos. But down the street from where we lived, like I don't know, stone's throw, on the corner, right where the bridge was that went to Passaic, right on the river, was a bar and they had regular storm doors. And back then not everybody had air conditioning, so they advertised air conditioning, and with the refrigerated, like shivers of icicles coming down in the ad, so it'll be really cold here. But in the most of the time of the year, the doors are open, and they had the little swinging, I guess, out west doors. I don't know what you call them, just swinging doors, so that anybody, like dogs, could just walk in the bar. And there was a wood floor, and there was sawdust on the floor. Anyway, how do I know this at age 10, 11, and 12? Probably 11 and 12. Well, my mom got tired of going in there and being ignored and trying to pull my dad out. So, next best thing, sent in the little mama and dad's little pride and joy daughter. Run down, Diane, and get your father out of the bar. Normal everyday chore for me, not every day, but I mean, it wasn't like I didn't even shrug. I just went down and got him this one time in particular. There was a lot of times. Okay, this one I just remember because it started to become familiar. You just And I went in, and the bartender doesn't even blink an eye. Kids in the bar. It, doesn't, yeah, yeah, Jean, your daughter's here, that kind of thing. And my dad usually would nod his head and say, all right, and go on, and maybe he'd come out in a few minutes. Maybe he wouldn't come out for me either. But this time he said, "Come on in, come all the way in." And like, he was playing pool, always shooting pool. There was a movie out. Actually, I love Jackie Gleason, and he was making a lot of movies back then. But I don't know if it came out this year or not. But there was a movie called The Hustler, and it was based on a true story of pool sharks. Basically, it was kind of a violent movie, but Jackie Gleason was in it. Man, I remember we saw it at the drive-in. Oh, I'll talk about drive-ins on another one. That's a happy memory. Drive-ins are a happy memory. So anyway, I go walking in the bar, and hey, Dad, Mom wants you. Mama wants you. Mama wants you. And he says, "Come on over." And he calls me over to the bar. Like, this was kind of a first. There was times where he would put a soda on a table and make me wait for him, but this time he called me right over to the counter, the bar. And the guy put up I don't know if we had birch beer back then. It was a big deal. It was made homemade from somebody up in Clifton. I don't know, this famous birch beer. So I tasted it, and it was really, I liked it. It's a nice flavor. And I'm standing at the bar. Are you getting this? I'm 12 years old, and I'm standing at the bar, and nobody even like wrinkles their nose like, why is this kid here? No, I was like, whatever, just whatever. And there was a lot of hardcore drinkers in that bar. The factory workers from Passaic that lived in Garfield. That was their first stop on the way home from work. It was my dad's first stop most times, whether he was working or he wasn't working. And most of the business deals he made, he met in one of the bars. The guys with all these great entrepreneurial ideas. So, anyway, I'm standing there, and it occurred to me that my dad's pulling me in so that he doesn't have to go home. Because if I'm standing there, and then he hands me a quarter and just put it in the jukebox, and I just remember this, and I know I'm old, okay, but it was 3 songs for a quarter. And so I went over to the jukebox, and I'm leaning on it. Now I'm starting to feel familiar in here, like I belong here. Not I belong here, but it's okay for me to be here in this atmosphere. And remember, I don't like that smell, but now I'm becoming desensitized to the smell. you know that smell like in a bar where all the smells of the alcohol kind of mix and they lay like a film on everything. And when you even when you walk by a bar when the doors are open, it's this it almost feels like a dark thing, you know. Ugh. Anyway, I still can't stand that smell nowadays. But I was becoming desensitized to it. I'm standing there leaning. And of course, it's a little darker in the bars. You know, they so you can't see yourself in the mirror, I guess. Anyway, I'm like, and all of a sudden I felt guilty because now, like, my mom sent me here on a mission to represent her, so my dad would come home. And here I am. I'm like joining the opposing team, and I had this like feeling inside me, like this ain't right. I shouldn't be. But I love my dad. You know, like he's a fun guy. He's like they are fun until they reach whatever level of alcohol is in their blood system, and then they're not fun anymore. But when you grow up in that kind of family, you're quick to forget that moment when he changed from the doctor Jekyll to the Mr. Hyde. You're quick to forget it. And I look over at my dad and I'm thinking, because I'm cognizant, I'm 12, I think, 11 or 12, and I'm starting to figure things out. I'm old enough for my mom to send me here, have the responsibility to babysit my brothers after school and start to get dinner ready. She's already thrust a lot of kind of leadership things on me. And I felt like I was betraying my mom by standing there with my dad. And this little schism stayed with me. Okay, it stayed with me like I was one or the other. If I ever sided with my dad from this point forward, you're just like your dad. Whoa, oh no, tell me in counseling hours, it took me to get rid of that one. I did look like him. I had the big high forehead and the dark hair, and I guess I had the Melville nose. I don't know. That's what they told me. I didn't see a whole bunch of Melvilles, but I supposedly had the nose. Who knows, right? Oh, get it? Okay, so that's Jean's Rainbow Bar, and I'm off to pick up one of my sponsees, and we're gonna work on step 4 and 5. Woo! Anyway, okay, that's enough, and I'll be back on here later this afternoon. Hopefully, the sun's out by then. Bye, guys. Oh, goodbye and God bless.